For some time now on the channel, we've been discussing various lightsabers and lightsaber crystals, their construction processes, and the unique properties of any given crystal, from enhanced powers from the individual that wields one, to unique properties such as being cold to the touch. For today's video though, we wanted to focus on a different type of lightsaber that was created by the Ancient Order of the Sith, and by various noble Sith houses, in a very unique era for the Sith in my opinion. The lightsaber that we'll be discussing today was created just before the events of the Great Sith Wars. The Great Sith Wars was a galaxy-wide conflict which took place in the year 3996 BBY. The first conflict of the Old Sith Wars, the Great Sith Wars, saw the rise of the Sith once again in opposition of the Jedi. The roots of the conflict are traced back to the fall of the Jedi Freed Nad from the Jedi Way, and the ascension of the Dark Lord to the Sith. Eventually, his dark influence was discovered on the planet of Onderon, and the ensuing battle saw the Jedi temporarily break Nad's hold on the remote world. This fight against the resurgent power of the Sith was a warning to the Jedi that something ominous was brewing. What's important to know about this era of time though, is that the Jedi and Sith are largely separated, and the Sith of this era are actually quite different from the more ancient times and the brute Sith that many fans are familiar with. They are very similar to the Rule of Two era Sith Lords, but also have distinct differences from them, that being their vast numbers. At this point in time, the Sith had developed and broken off into separate orders, calling themselves noble houses in fact, with many powerful Dark Lords of the Sith becoming fascinated with wealth, jewelry, and becoming quite influential political figures in the wider galaxy. Before the era of the Rule of Two Sith, many of these Sith Lords were in fact noblemen, with others becoming lawyers, politicians, scientists, and much more. With the Sith of this era discovering that they could grow their power through different means, not just focusing on growing their abilities to touch the dark side. But this is where we come into the creation of the light foil, an experimental Sith lightsaber developed during this era in time, and a lightsaber that represented a great many things for the Ancient Order. The light foil developed by these ancient noble houses of the Sith had many similarities to the more conventional lightsaber, but also some key differences. The light foil was set aside for only Sith nobles or Sith that were exceedingly wealthy. No normal or lower level Sith Lord was ever permitted to use a light foil. In essence, the light foil was developed by these Sith nobles to be a more elegant version and variant of the lightsaber. Many of the Sith that used the light foil during this era also specialized in Form 2 lightsaber combat known as Makashi, the same form that Dooku specializes in, because the light foil was viewed specifically as a dueling weapon. It is because of this that they favored the elegance and the dueling-centric form of Makashi. The Sith Lords considered themselves far above the more common Sith of this time, and therefore desired a weapon that also represented their differences. Beyond becoming obsessed with mastering the dark side, the Sith of this era were also obsessed with wealth. This marks an important point in Sith lore, as this is where the Sith truly differentiate themselves from their more warrior-like ancestors, and it was essentially these Sith with endless wealth that developed the light foil. The light foil only allowed the usage for a single hand, which was the preferred form of Makashi as well. Most Sith of this era had no fear for any blaster-wielding foe whatsoever, and considered this to be a lower-level skirmish, one where they could send their underlings to handle. The reason they had such a large emphasis on dueling is because they perceived their only other threat to be the rising Jedi Order, but more potently, other noble Sith Lords. The light foil was considered to be one of the most well-balanced weapons ever created in the entirety of Star Wars lore, and was made of exceedingly fine materials with exceedingly rare kyber crystals. It is commonly well known that a red, naturally occurring kyber crystal in Legends continuity was exceedingly rare. However, many Sith Lords sought out the naturally occurring red because they believed they were far more valuable, and denoted them even further. Many of the noble Sith that created the light foils also placed within them precious jewels and other objects of significance. Every light foil was a beautiful work of art and not simply a weapon. In terms of the Sith, it almost represented their crown. Another hugely advantageous element of this was the fact that they could be easily concealed. However, of course, they seldom were. The downfall of the light foil, though, would actually be another powerful fallen Jedi that came to prominence, a fallen Jedi that you will all know very well as Exar Kun. Exar Kun revealed to these noble Sith masters that they were weak and that the Jedi Order perceived them as weak, revealing that the Jedi were well aware of their existence, but simply preferred them to the more ancient, brute Sith, believing that they were far less dangerous because they were so pampered. The Sith nobles, however, could not deny the latent power of Exar Kun and made a fatal mistake, deciding to quite publicly, in fact, fund his operations and conquest against the Republic. And it was this final straw and the funding of Exar Kun that the Jedi Council finally decided to take action against these weakened noble Sith. Unlike these fallen Sith nobles, Exar Kun was a true and legitimate threat to the entire Republic. As a result of this, the Jedi created a massive strike team to go after these nobles. In an extremely ironic turn of events, the Sith nobles were pitiful in lightsaber combat, showing the true weaknesses not only of themselves but also their weapon in the light foil, as the Jedi absolutely ran through them, with this Jedi strike team purging these so-called Sith warriors. However, the creation of the light foil did not completely perish along with these Sith nobles, as many attempted to recreate it, most commonly non-force sensitives. The tale of the light foil was still quite famous. It is because of this that light foils became an exceptionally hot commodity through those individuals in the galaxy who were not force sensitive. Those that found the light foils of these noble Sith paid top dollar for them, and those that attempted to create light foils of their own also made fortunes. However, they too would eventually fall out of popularity. Unluckily for many of these dealers, many of the light foils were destroyed by the Jedi strike team, never to be seen again. The light foils created by non-force sensitives still marks an important section in Star Wars lore, as this is one of the only times that non-force sensitives have actually created lightsabers of their own that they intended to use in battle, although more so for trophies. But anyway, my friends, what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on the tale of the light foil, or the experimental type of lightsaber that Sith nobles developed? What are your thoughts on the pitiful Sith nobles and the era of the Great Sith War? As always, my friends, may the Force be with you, and I hope that you have a great day.